Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Macduff's wife, her son, and Ross. What had he done to make him fly the land? You must have patience, madam. He had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors. You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear. Wisdom? To leave his wife, to leave his babes, his mansion and his titles in a place from whence himself does fly. He loves us not. He wants the natural touch. For the poor wren, the most diminutive of birds, will fight her young ones in her nest against the owl. All is the fear and nothing is the love. As little is the wisdom where the flight so runs against all reason. My dearest coz, I pray you school yourself, but for your husband he is noble, wise, judicious, and best knows the fits of the season. I dare not speak much further, but cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves, when we hold rumor from what we fear, yet know not what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea, each way and none. I take my leave of you. Shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at the worst will cease or else climb upward to what they were before. To the son. My pretty cousin, blessing upon you. Fathered he is, and yet he's fatherless. I am so much a fool. Should I stay longer, it would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once. Sirrah, your father's dead, and what will you do now? How will you live? As birds do, mother. What, with worms and flies? With what I get, I mean, and so do they. Poor bird, thou'st never fear the net nor lime, the pitfall nor the gin. Why should I, mother? Poor birds they are not set for. My father is not dead, for all you're saying. Yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for a father? Nay, how will you do for a husband? Why, I can buy me 20 at any market. Then you'll buy 'em to sell again. Thou speak'st with all thy wit, and yet, i'faith, with wit enough for thee. Was my father a traitor, mother? Ay, that he was. What is a traitor? Why, one that swears and lies, and be all traitors that do so. Every one that does so is a traitor and must be hanged. And must they all be hanged that swear and lie? Every one. Who must hang them? Why, the honest men. Then the liars and swearers are fools, for there are liars and swearers enough to beat the honest men and hang up them. Now God help thee, poor monkey, but how wilt thou do for a father? If he were dead, you'd weep for him. If you would not, it were a good sign that I should quickly have a new father. Poor prattler, how thou talk'st! Enter a messenger. Bless you, fair dame, I am not to you known, though in your state of honor I am perfect. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly, if you will take a homely man's advice. Be not found here. Hence with your little ones. To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage. To do worse to you were fell cruelty, which is too nigh your person. Heaven preserve you. I dare abide no longer. Whither should I fly? I have done no harm. But I remember now I am in this earthly world where to do harm is often laudable, to do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put on that womanly defense to say I have done no harm? What are these faces? Where is your husband? I hope in no place so unsanctified where such as thou mayst find him. He is a traitor. Thou liest, thou shag-haired villain. Stabbing him. What, you egg? Young fry of treachery. He has killed me, mother. Run away, I pray you. Exit wife crying murder, followed by murderers with son's body. Act 4, Scene 3. Enter Malcolm and Macduff. Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms empty. Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men bestride our downfall birthdom. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland and yelled out like syllable of dolour. What I believe I'll wail, what no believe, and what I can redress, as I shall find the time to friend I will. What you have spoke, it may be so, perchance. This tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongue, was once thought honest. You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet. I am young, but something you may deserve of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry god. I am not treacherous, but Macbeth is. A good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge, but I shall crave your pardon, that which you are my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still though the brightest fell. Though all things foul would wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so. I have lost my hopes. Perchance even there were where I did find my doubts. Why, in that rawness left you wife and child, those precious motives, those strong knots of love, without leave-taking. I pray you, let not my jealousies be your dishonours, but mine own safeties. You may be rightly just, whatever I shall think. Bleed, bleed, poor country. Great tyranny, lay thou thy bases sure, for goodness dare not check thee. Wear thou thy wrongs, the title is afeard. Fare thee well, lord. I would not be the villain that thou think'st, for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich east to boot. Be not offended. I speak not as in absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think withal there would be hands uplifted in my right, and here from gracious England have I offer of goodly thousands. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer and more sundry ways than ever, by him that shall succeed. What should he be? It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice, so grafted that when they shall be opened, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem him as a lamb, being compared with my confineless arms. Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth. I grant him bloody, luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name, but there's no bottom, none, in my voluptuousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust, and my desire all continent. Impediments would o'erbear that did oppose my will. Better Macbeth than such an one to reign. Boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny. It hath been the untimely emptying of the happy throne and fall of many kings. But fear not yet to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty and yet seem cold. The time you may so hoodwink. We have willing dames enough. There cannot be that vulture in you to devour so many as will to greatness dedicate themselves, finding it so inclined. With this there grows in my most ill-composed affection such a stanchless avarice, that were I king, I should cut off the nobles for their lands, desire his jewels and this other's house, and my more having would be as a sauce to make mummy hunger more, that I should forge quarrels unjust against the good and loyal, destroying them for wealth. This avarice sticks deeper, grows with more pernicious root than summer seeming lust, and it hath been the sword of our slain kings. Yet do not fear, Scotland hath foisons to fill up your will of your mere own, and these are portable, with other graces weighed. But I have none. The king becoming graces, as justice, verity, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude, I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of each several crime, acting in many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of concord into hell, uproar the universal peace, confound all unity on earth. O Scotland, Scotland! If such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken. Fit to govern? No, not fit to live. O nation miserable, with an untitled tyrant bloody sceptred, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again, since that the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accused, and does blaspheme his breed? Thy royal father was a most sainted king. The queen that bore thee, oftener upon her knees than on her feet, died every day she lived. Fare thee well, these evils thou repeat'st upon thyself hath banished me from Scotland. O my breast, thy hope ends here. Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth, by many of these trains, hath sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from over-credulous haste. But God above deal between thee and me, for even now I put myself to thy direction, and unspeak mine own detraction. Here abjure the taints and blames I laid upon myself, for strangers to my nature. I am yet unknown to women. Never was forsworn, scarcely have coveted what was mine own. At no time broke my faith, would not betray the devil to his fellow, and delight no less in truth than life. My first false speaking was this upon myself: what I am truly is thine and my poor country's to command. Whither indeed, before thy here approach, old Syward with 10,000 warlike men already at a point was setting forth, now will together, and the chance of goodness be like our warranted quarrel. Why are you silent? Such welcome and unwelcome things at once, 'tis hard to reconcile. Enter an English doctor. Well, more anon. Comes the king forth, I pray you? Aye, sir, there are a crew of wretched souls that stay his cure. Their malady convinces the great assay of art. But at his touch, such sanctity hath heaven given his hand. They presently amend. I thank you, doctor. What's the disease he means? 'Tis called the evil. A most miraculous work in this good king, which often since my here remain in England, I have seen him do. How he solicits heaven, himself best knows, but strangely visited people, all swollen and ulcerous, pitiful to the eye, the mere despair of surgery he cures, hanging a golden stamp about their necks, put on with holy prayers, and 'tis spoken, to the succeeding royalty he leaves the healing benediction. With this strange virtue he hath a heavenly gift of prophecy, and sundry blessings hang about his throne, that speak him full of grace. Enter Ross. See who comes here. My countryman, but yet I know him not. I know him now. Good God, betimes, remove the means that makes us strangers. Sir, amen. Stands Scotland where it did. Alas, poor country, almost afraid to know itself. It cannot be called our mother, but our grave, where nothing but who knows nothing is once seen to smile. Where sighs and groans and shrieks that rend the air are made, not marked, where violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy. The dead man's knell is there scarce asked for who, and good men's lives expire before the flowers in their caps, dying or ere they sicken. O relation, too nice and yet too true. What's the newest grief? That of an hour's age doth his the speaker, each minute teems a new one. How does my wife? Why, well, and all my children, well too. The tyrant has not battered at their peace. No, they were all a peace when I did leave them. Be not a niggard of your speech. How goest? When I came hither to transport the tidings which I have heavenly borne, there ran a rumour of many worthy fellows that were out, which was to my belief witnessed the rather for that I saw the tyrant's power afoot. Now is the time of help. Your eye in Scotland would create soldiers, make our women fight, to doff their dire distresses. Be their comfort, we are coming thither. Gracious England hath lent us good Syward and 10,000 men, an older and a better soldier none that Christendom gives out. Would I could answer this comfort with the like, but I have words that would be howled out in the desert air, where hearing should not latch them. What concern they? The general cause, or is it a fee grief, due to some single breast? No mind that's honest, but in it shares some woe, though the main part pertains to you alone. If it be mine, keep it not from me, quickly let me have it. Let not your ears despise my tongue forever, which shall possess them with the heaviest sound that ever yet they heard. I guess at it. Your castle is surprised, your wife and babes savagely slaughtered. To relate the manner were on the quarry of these murdered deer, to add the death of you. Merciful heaven! What man ne'er pull your hat upon your brows, give sorrow words, the grief that does not speak, whispers the o'er-fraught heart and bids it break? My children too. Wife, children, servants, all that could be found. And I must be from thence. My wife killed too, I have said. Be comforted. Let's make us medicines of our great revenge, to cure this deadly grief. He has no children. All my pretty ones. Did you say all? Oh, hell-kite, all? What, all my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop? Dispute it like a man. I shall do. But I must also feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things were, that were most precious to me. Did heaven look on, and would not take their part? Sinful Macduff, they were all struck for thee. Not that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine. Fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now. Be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger. Blunt not the heart, enrage it. Oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes, and braggart with my tongue, but gentle heavens, cut short all intermission. Front to front bring thou this fiend of Scotland, and myself within my sword's length to set him. If he scape, heaven forgive him too. This tune goes manly. Come, go we to the king. Our power is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. Macbeth is ripe for shaking. And the powers above put on their instruments. Receive what cheer you may. The night is long that never finds the day. Enter a doctor of physic and a waiting gentlewoman. I have 2 nights watched with you, but can perceive no truth in your report. When was it she last walked? Since his majesty went into the field. I have seen her rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, afterwards seal it, and again return to bed. Yet all this while in a most fast sleep. A great perturbation in nature, to receive at once the benefit of sleep and do the effects of watching. In this slumbery agitation, besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say? That, sir, which I will not report after her. You may to me, and 'tis most meet you should. Neither to you nor anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. Enter Lady Macbeth with a taper. Lo, you, here she comes. This is her very guise, and upon my life fast asleep. Observe her and stand close. How came she by that light? Why, it stood by her. She has light by her continually, 'tis her command. You see her eyes are open. Aye, but their scents are shut. What is it she does now? Look how she rubs her hands. It is an accustomed action with her to seem thus washing her hands. I have known her continue in this a quarter of an hour. Yet here's a spot. Hark, she speaks. I will set down what comes from her to satisfy my remembrance the more strongly. Out, damned spot, out, I say. 1, 2, why then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie, a soldier and afeard. What need we fear? Who knows it, when none can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have so much blood in him? Do you mark that? The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What, will these hands ne'er be clean? No more of that, my lord, no more of that. You mar all with this starting. Go to, go to. You have known what you should not. She has spoke what she should not. I'm sure of that. Heaven knows what she has known. Here's the smell of blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh, oh, oh. What a sigh is there! The heart is sorely charged. I would not have such a heart in my bosom for the dignity of the whole body. Well, well, well. Pray God it be, sir. This disease is beyond my practice. Yet I have known those which have walked in their sleep, who have died holily in their beds. Wash your hands, put on your nightgown, look not so pale. I tell you yet again, Banquo's buried, he cannot come out on's grave. Even so. To bed, to bed. There's a knocking at the gate. Come, 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 give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed, to bed, to bed. Will she go to bed now to bed? Directly. Foul whisperings are abroad. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds to their deaf pillows will discharge their secrets. More needs she the divine than the physician. God, God, forgive us all. Look after her. Remove from her the means of all annoyance, and still keep eyes upon her, so good night. My mind she has mated, and amazed my sight. I think but dare not speak. Good night, good doctor. Act 5, Scene 2. Drum and colors enter Menteith, Caithness, Angus, Lennox, soldiers. The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Syward, and the good Macduff. Revenges burn in them for their dear causes, would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man. Near Birnam Wood shall we well meet them. That way they are coming. Who knows if Donalbain be with his brother? For certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry. There is Syward's son. And many unrough youths that even now protest their first of manhood. What does the tyrant? Great Dunsany, he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad, others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury. But for certain he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule. Now does he feel his secret murders sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts, upbraid his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loose about him, like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief. Who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start, when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there? Well, march we on to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. Meet we the medicine of the sickly weal, and with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us, or so much as it needs to dew the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. Make we our march towards Birnam. Act 5, Scene 3. Bring me no more reports. Let them fly all, till Birnam Wood remove to Dunsany. I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that know all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall e'er have power upon thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by and the heart I bear shall never sag with doubt nor shake with fear. The devil damn thee, black, thou cream-faced loon! What got'st thou with that goose look? Where got'st thou that goose look? There is 10,000 geese, villain. Soldiers, sir. Go prick thy face, and overred thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers, Patch? Death of thy soul. Those linen cheeks of thine are counselors to fear. What soldiers, Wayface? The English force so please you. Take thy face hence. Satan, I am sick at heart. When I behold Satan, I say, this push will cheer me ever or dissate me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life is fallen into the sere, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age. As honor, love, obedience, troops of friends I must not look to have, but in their stead curses, not loud but deep, mouth honor breathe, which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. Satan! Enter Satan. What's your gracious pleasure? What news more? All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported. I'll fight till my bones, my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor. 'Tis not needed yet. I'll put it on. Send out more horses. Scur the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armor. How does your patient, doctor? Not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick coming fancies that keep her from her rest. Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow? Raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote, cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart. Therein the patient must minister to himself. Throw physic to the dogs. I'll none of it. Come, put my armor on, and give me my staff. Satan, send out. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine health, I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. Pull it off, I say. What rhubarb, senna, or what purgative drug would scour these English hence? Hearest thou of them? Ay, my good lord, your royal preparation makes us hear something. Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane, till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane. Exit all but the doctor of physic. Were I from Dunsinane away and clear, profit again should hardly draw me here. Act 5, Scene 4. Drums and colors. Enter Malcolm, Syward, Macduff, young Syward, Mentheus, Caithness, Angus, and soldiers marching. Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand, that Chambers will be safe. We doubt it nothing. What wood is that before us? The wood of Burnham. Let every soldier hew him down a bough and bear it before him. Thereby shall we shadow the numbers of our host, and make discovery err in report of us. It shall be done. We learn no other but the confident tyrant keeps still in Dunsinane, and will endure our setting down before it. 'Tis his main hope, for where there is advantage to be given, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none serve with him but constrained things, whose hearts are absent too. Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership. The time approaches that will with due decision make us know what we shall say we have and what we owe. Thoughts speculative their unsure hopes relate, but certain issue, strokes must arbitrate, towards which advance the war. Enter Macbeth, Satan, and soldiers with drums and colors. Hang out our banners on the outward wall. The cry is still, they come. Our castle's strength will laugh a siege to scorn. Here let them lie till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not forced with those that should be ours, we might have met them dareful beard to beard, and beat them backward home. A cry within of women. What was that noise? It's the cry of women, my lord. My good lord. I have almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek, and my fell of hair would at a dismal treatise rouse and stir as life were in it. I have supped full with horrors. Direness, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts, cannot once start me. Wherefore was that cry? The queen, my lord, is dead. She should have died hereafter. There would have been time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way into dusty death. Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Thou comest to use thy tongue, thy story quickly. Gracious, my lord, I should report that which I saw, but know not how to do it. Well, say, sir. As I did stand my watch upon the hill, I looked toward Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move. Liar and slave, let me endure your wrath, if it be not so. Within this 3 mile you see it coming. I say a moving grove. If thou speak'st false, upon the next tree shalt thou hang alive, till famine cling thee. If thy speech be sooth, I care not if thou dost for me as much. I pull in resolution, and begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend, that lies like truth. Fear not till Burnham wood do come to Dunsinane, and now a wood comes toward Dunsinane. Arm, and out. If this which he avouches does appear, there is nor flying hence nor tarrying here. I gin to be aweary of the sun, and wish the estate of the world were now undone. Ring the alarm bell, blow wind, come rack, at least we'll die with harness on our back. Act 5, Scene 6. Drum and colors. Enter Malcolm, Syward, Macduff, and their army with boughs. Now, near enough, your leafy screens throw down, and show like those you are. You, worthy uncle, shall with my cousin, your right noble son, lead our first battle. Worthy Macduff and we shall take upon what else remains to do, according to our order. Fare you well. Do we but find the tyrant's power tonight, let us be beaten if we cannot fight. Make all our trumpets speak, give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and death. Act 5, Scene 7. Enter Macbeth. They have tied me to a stake. I cannot fly, but bear-like must fight the course. What's he that was not born of woman? Such a one am I to fear, or none. Enter young Syward. What is thy name? Thou'lt be afraid to hear it. No, though thou call'st thyself a hotter name than any is in hell. My name's Macbeth. The devil himself could not pronounce a title more hateful to mine ear. No, nor more fearful. Thou liest, abhorred tyrant. With my sword I'll prove the lie thou speak'st. Fight and young Cyward slain. Thou wast born of woman, but swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn, brandished by a man that's of a woman born. Exit with the body. Alarums. Enter Macduff. That way the noise is. Tyrant, show thy face. If thou beest slain, and with no stroke of mine, my wife and children's ghosts will haunt me still. I cannot strike at wretched kerns, whose arms are hired to bear their staves. Either thou, Macbeth, or else my sword with an unbattered edge I sheathe again unteed it. There thou shouldst be, by this great clatter one of greatest note seems bruited. Let me find him fortune, and more I beg not. Enter Malcolm and Cyward. This way, my lord, the castle's gently rendered. The tyrant's people on both sides do fight. The noble thanes do bravely in the war. The day almost itself professes yours, and little is to do. We have met with foes that strike beside us. Enter, sir, the castle. Enter Macbeth. Exit Cyward and Malcolm. Alarums. Why should I play the Roman fool, and die upon mine own sword, whilst I see lives, the gashes do better upon them? Whilst I see lives, the gashes do better upon them. Enter Macduff. Turn, hellhound, turn! Of all men else I have avoided thee. But get thee back. My soul is too much charged with blood of thine already. I have no words. My voice is in my sword. Thou bloodier villain than terms can give thee out. Fight. Alarums. Thou losest labor. As easy mayest thou the entrenched air with thy keen sword impress as make me bleed. Let fall thy blade on vulnerable crests. I bear a charmed life, which must not yield to one of woman born. Despair thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served tell thee Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. Accursed be the tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of man. And be these juggling fiends no more believed, that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ear, and break it to our hope. I will not fight with thee. Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show and gaze of the time. We'll have thee as our rarer monsters are, painted upon a pole, and underwrit, Here may you see the tyrant. I will not yield, to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet, and to be baited with the rabble's curse, though Birnam wood become to Dunsinane, and thou opposed being of no woman born, yet I will try the last. Before my body I throw my warlike shield. Lay on, Macduff, and damned be him that first cries, Hold, enough! Exit fighting. Alarums. Enter Macbeth and Macduff fighting, and Macbeth slain. Exit Macduff with Macbeth's body. Retreat and flourish. Enter with drum and colours Malcolm, Cyward, Ross, thanes, and soldiers. I would the friends we miss were safe arrived. Some must go off, and yet by these I see so great a day as this is cheaply bought. Macduff is missing, and your noble son. Your son, my lord, has paid a soldier's debt. He only lived but till he was a man, the which no sooner had his prowess confirmed in the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died. Then he is dead. Aye, and brought off the field. Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it has no end. Had he his hurts before? I on the front. Why then God's soldier he be he. Had I as many sons as I have hairs, I would not wish them to a fairer death, and so his knell is knolled. He's worth more sorrow, and that I'll spend for him. He's worth no more. They say he parted well and paid his score, and so God be with him. Here comes newer comfort. Enter Macduff with Macbeth's head. Hail, King, for so thou art. Behold where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl, that speak my salutation in their minds, whose voices I desire aloud with mine. Hail, King of Scotland! Hail, King of Scotland! Flourish. We shall not spend a large expense of time before we reckon with your several loves, and make us even with you. My thanes and kinsmen henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honour named. What's more to do? Which would be planted newly with the time, as calling home our exiled friends abroad, that fled the snares of watchful tyranny, producing forth the cruel ministers of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen, who, as 'tis thought, by self and violent hands took off her life. This, and what needful else that calls upon us, by the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time, and place. So thanks to all, at once, and to each one whom we invite to see us crowned at Scone. Flourish, exit all.